Our souls, as well as our bodies, are composed of individual elements which were all already present in the ranks of our ancestors. The, quote, newness, unquote, in the individual psyche is an endlessly varied recombination of age-old components. Body and soul, therefore, have an intensely historical character and find no proper place in what is new, in things that have just come into being. This is like Louis C.K.'s thing, right? These days, everything's amazing, but nobody's happy. Jung's talking about why. Back to Jung. That is to say, our ancestral components are only partly at home in such things. We are very far from having finished completely with the Middle Ages, classical antiquity, and primitivity, as our modern psyches pretend. Nevertheless, we have plunged down a cataract of progress which sweeps us on into the future with ever wilder violence the farther it takes us from our roots. Once the past has been breached, it is usually annihilated, and there is no stopping the forward motion. But it is precisely the loss of connection with the past, our uprootedness, which has given rise to the discontents of civilization and to such a flurry and haste that we live more in the future and its chimerical promises of a golden age than in the present, with which our whole evolutionary background has not yet caught up. We rush impetuously into novelty, driven by a mounting sense of insufficiency, dissatisfaction, and restlessness. We no longer live on what we have, but on promises, no longer in the light of the present day, but in the darkness of the future, which we expect will at last bring the proper sunrise. Have you ever noticed that? How the promises of progress are always just around the corner? What is it now? Oh, we're going to live forever. Oh, yeah, by the time you get old, people are going to live to be 200. Oh, yeah, we've doubled the human lifespan. We're going to double it again and again and again. You're going to have so much free time. Oh, you can't imagine. This new technology is going to make life so easy for you. Back to Jung. We refuse to recognize that everything better is purchased at the price of something worse. That, for example, the hope of greater freedom is canceled out by increased enslavement to the state. Not to speak of the terrible perils to which the most brilliant discoveries of science expose us. The less we understand what our fathers and forefathers sought, the less we understand ourselves. And thus we help with all our might to rob the individual of his roots and his guiding instincts so that he becomes a particle in the mass, ruled only by what Nietzsche called the spirit of gravity. Reforms by advances, that is, by new methods or gadgets, are of course impressive at first, but in the long run they are dubious and in any case dearly paid for. They by no means increase the contentment or happiness of people on the whole. Mostly, they are deceptive sweetenings of existence, like speedier communications, which unpleasantly accelerate the tempo of life and leave us with less time than ever before. He wrote this in like 1900. All haste is of the devil, says Jung, as the old masters used to say. Reforms by retrogressions, on the other hand, are as a rule less expensive and in addition more lasting, for they return to the simpler, tried and tested ways of the past. That's from Memories, Dreams, and Reflections by Carl Jung. Yeah.